Again, my name is Aileen Zai, and I'm the program manager for the Alzheimer's Association, serving McHenry County, Boone County, and the Rockford community. And we have many staff members in and around the area that are out doing these types of education topics in the area. And I love that we chose this topic for June, because June is Brain Awareness Month. And so this is a great way to talk about healthy living for the brain and what we can do to keep our brains healthy. So we're going to go ahead and go through some topics. And again, as Kristen mentioned, we'll have a question and answer session at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and just start away. And again, this program is intended to provide you with science-based recommendations about taking good care of our brains and our bodies. And we're going to go ahead and share some stories and offer tips on how to make small changes to build healthier habits for yourself. And we encourage you to think about your health and your lifestyle and how you might be able to make some changes to live healthier. So by the end of our program, you will be able to identify some behaviors that affect our brains and bodies. We're going to give you the tools to list some strategies for healthy decision making in many different areas, such as sleep, our mental health, our physical health, being cognitively engaged and socially engaged, and also about nutrition. So let's begin to talk about the brain itself. So the brain is our control center for our entire body. It manages everything, including our thoughts and our movement. And there are approximately 100 billion nerve cells called neurons in the brain. They are structured like branches of a tree, creating a network of pathways through which signals are structured and sent to basically form memories, thoughts, and feelings. So many diseases can affect the brain. For example, Alzheimer's progressively destroys brain cells as it moves throughout the brain, affecting more functions as the disease progresses. So we know that the heart and the brain are connected, and that is what's good, that what is good for the heart is good for the brain. So now science is able to tell us why this is true and what we can do to maximize our health. Much of the heart-brain connection is due to the fact that the brain is nourished by the body's richest network of blood vessels. The oxygen and other elements delivered to the brain through our bloodstream keeps our brain nourished. So each time your heart beats, 20 to 25% of the blood being moved goes to the brain. And that's why keeping the heart in good working condition helps to keep the brain fueled in order to do its work. So although this program is more about Alzheimer's and other dementias, it's helpful to know some basic information about them. So this can help you understand how they may be related to healthy living and what we can do to keep our brains and bodies healthy. So let's do a quick knowledge check. Think about this for yourself. Do you think that Alzheimer's is a normal part of aging or not? So I'll give you a minute to think about that. And the answer is actually false. So Alzheimer's is a progressive and fatal brain disease. Symptoms usually develop slowly and get worse over time, and it is not a part of normal aging. So as we get older, it's common to experience some age-related changes to memory or thinking abilities, such as forgetting where we left something, but finding it later, or sometimes having trouble finding the right word. So this is known as cognitive decline. Dementia is a general term used to describe problems with thinking and memory that are severe enough to interfere with a person's daily life. Dementia is not a normal part of aging. It is caused by damage to brain cells that affects the cell's ability to communicate, which can affect thinking, behavior, and feelings. So Alzheimer's disease is the most common cause of dementia, and worldwide, an estimated 55 million people are living with Alzheimer's and other dementias. So there currently is no cure, unfortunately. However, there are some drug and non-drug options that can help with symptoms and may have the ability to slow the disease progression. So while there are no currently any proven methods to prevent cognitive decline or dementia, research has shown that we can take action to reduce our risk of developing it and help to maintain or potentially improve our overall health. So let's talk a little bit about what affects our overall health and well-being. So there are many factors that can impact our health, including genes, family history, environment, and lifestyle. As we age, it's common for us to experience some similar changes, like getting gray hair or wrinkles, or needing glasses for reading. But as individuals, we experience getting older in many different ways. And this is due partly to our genes. Our genes are beyond our control and influence the way we are. For example, some families' genes allow them to live well into their 90s or even longer, while other families' genes can lead to diseases earlier in life that may shorten their lifespan. So in addition, the environment in which we live, work, and play can have significant effect on our health. And many of these are difficult to change or beyond our control. But we do have some control over other factors, including our health. Making improvements in these areas can positively affect overall health, even for individuals with a family history or certain conditions like dementia or heart disease. So your blood pressure, blood sugar, weight, and cholesterol levels are all key parts of the story of our overall health, including our brain. So it's important to understand these numbers and keep an eye on them. Growing research suggests that many factors that increase the risk of heart disease and stroke may also increase the risk of cognitive decline and dementia. So there's strong evidence of a connection between midlife high blood pressure or hypertension and later life dementia. This evidence also shows that controlling blood pressure can have a significant effect on our risk for cognitive decline and possibly dementia. So keeping diabetes controlled is important also. Studies have shown that an increase in the risk of cognitive decline and possibly dementia among individuals living with diabetes, although diabetes has not yet to this point been proven to cause Alzheimer's disease. Maintaining a healthy weight is important too. So researchers have found that midlife obesity may be associated with an increased risk of dementia. We know that a good cholesterol level is good for the heart. And as I mentioned before, what's good for the heart is good for the brain. So the best way to combat these health concerns is to know your numbers and keep an eye on them, especially if they change. Talk with your doctor or another healthcare professional to understand what your numbers should be and what they mean for your overall health. Many of the healthy living strategies that we talk about next can have the potential to support you in working to maintain optimal numbers. So here's another knowledge question for you. It's never too early or too late to incorporate healthy habits. I think we could all agree that that is true. So people of all ages can benefit from adding in more healthy behaviors, and we can learn a little bit more about that. So today we will explore these aspects of healthy living. So getting quality sleep, being smoke-free, taking care of our mental health, getting moving, eating healthy, challenging ourselves, and staying connected. And we'll look at what science tells us about these changes and how we can address these areas so that we can keep our bodies and brains healthy. So as we touch on each area, think about how you can apply this to your own life and consider how you can do what you enjoy, make gradual changes that are relevant for you and how you live, and starting now, really regardless of your age. So first, let's talk about sleep. Quality sleep is essential for overall health and well-being. Not only does sleep allow us to rest and recharge, but it also affects our ability to maintain healthy blood pressure and control diabetes. Inadequate sleep due to conditions like insomnia or sleep apnea can cause problems with memory and thinking. Sleep apnea is a condition in which breathing stops and restarts many times while you're sleeping. Excuse me. Adults should aim for no less than 6 hours of rest a night. Of course, sometimes there may be interruptions from others in the home or noise or other factors that make this difficult, but it's important to try to improve the quality of our sleep whenever possible. So think about your own sleeping habits. Do you get enough sleep? Importantly, do you get enough quality sleep? What kind of environment helps you sleep better? What changes might be able to be made to create a more peaceful sleep setting? How can you minimize disruptions? Knowing these questions and keeping them in mind, we're going to talk through some tips on how you can help improve your quality of sleep. So here's a few different tips, some things that you can think about in regards to the temperature of your room or the amount of light in your room. Maybe turn off screens before bedtime and help you wind down before you sleep. And talk to your doctor if you experience frequent sleep problems. As I mentioned, sleep apnea could be something that you could fix quite easily. So, sometimes when it comes to the temperature of your room, maybe think about whether you like to sleep in a cooler or a warmer room. Do you prefer to have silence or maybe some white noise in the background? And do you prefer to have some light on in the room or complete darkness? So consider maybe changes in either more or fewer blankets, a fan or white noise, night lights or blackout curtains, noise canceling headphones, or a sound machine. And try to minimize any disruptions. I know for myself, when my dog comes in the room, it always wakes me up because I think he has to go outside. So that's kind of one of those things that I have learned to adjust to. Um, but is it possible to maybe make some changes in your sleeping patterns to help you sleep better? And then next, we're going to talk about stopping smoking. So, do you know that smoking does have a direct impact on the health of our brain? So, studies have shown that smoking increases the risk of cognitive decline and may increase the risk of dementia. So, the benefits of quitting smoking includes a lower risk of heart attack, stroke, and lung disease, better blood circulation, and avoiding exposing others to secondhand smoke. So, as we spoke about before, all of that blood that needs to pump into our brain, if we're smoking, it's not being able to circulate into our brain as well. So, if you currently smoke, think about something that could help you stop. And if you don't, what's helped you stay smoke free? And maybe you can share that information with others. Find some resources online or in your community. And here's some tips on how to quit. Finding support through quit lines, talking with your doctor or another healthcare professional on perhaps finding that cessation program that can help you. And next, we're going to talk about mental health. So taking care of your mental health is important. You may have a lot on your plate. Maybe you care for others, or you're juggling a heavy workload, or you're dealing with life's unexpected surprises. So pay attention to your stress level and any symptoms of anxiety, depression, or other mental health concerns. These can affect the health of your brain. Talk with your doctor about how you are feeling, both physically and mentally. Some of the healthy habits that we're going to talk about next are good examples of self-care. For example, studies have found that regular physical exercise decreases stress, increases your ability to manage stress, and can lead to better overall mood. So maybe try to think about some of the things that you enjoy doing that would help release your stress and improve your mental health. How can I maybe take some breaks during the day to help me not feel so stressed? And how can I focus on self-care? We all know that self-care is really, really important. So here are some ideas. Incorporating maybe a nap during the day or a walk. If you like to dance, that can always be a fun way to boost your spirits. Singing a song, baking a treat, reading a book. There's a lot of books out that can really help us to improve our mood and that type of thing. And watching a funny video always helps, of course. So the next topic we're going to talk about is getting moving. So there's quite a bit of research on how physical activity can affect our brains and help keep them as healthy as possible. So many studies have found that consistent physical activity is associated with lower risk of cognitive decline. Some researchers say that if people had to choose one thing to do to improve their brain functioning, it should be physical activity. So evidence suggests that physical activity may directly benefit our brain cells by increasing the blood and oxygen flow. It may also reduce other dementia risk factors such as high blood pressure and diabetes. So most researchers believe that exercise should be regular and on the more vigorous side, things that really get our heart pumping and our blood flowing. So other studies have shown benefits from even milder activities such as walking or strength training. However, we don't yet have a single recipe for what may work best, but what most doctors will tell us is that if we get moving, even in the smallest of ways, it can help us with our health. So any increase in movement is a positive change that can lead to the impact of overall health. So it can feel hard or overwhelming to think about adding more movement into our already really full day, but little changes can really add up. Research shows that even 20 to 30 minutes of walking a few times a week can have health benefits. The most important thing is to be as active as you possibly can and to do activities that you enjoy so that you'll continue doing them. So what activities might you think about trying? And how can you build more physical activity into your day? Sometimes it helps to have someone join you. Ask a friend or a neighbor to go for a walk with you. So maybe find some things that might already be a part of your day. Walking around the neighborhood, taking your dog for a walk, something like that. Taking the stairs more often, getting off of a bus at an earlier stop, or parking your car even when you go shopping in a spot that's farther away from the door. Start small. Short amounts of physical activity really do add up. So even if you just started 2 days a week and built that up to more days out of the week, it would be great. And try something fun. Again, ask friends and family members or neighbors to join you. So the next area we're going to talk about is balanced nutrition. Eating an overall healthy diet may reduce your risk of many diseases. So as we've already discussed, what's good for the heart is also good for the brain, as I said. The same is true when it comes to the foods that we eat. So we know that healthy fuel for the body benefits brain functioning. Eating a balanced diet may reduce your risk of heart disease, cancer, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, stroke, and diabetes. There are other differing opinions about what is the best way to eat to maximize our health, but research on the relationship between nutrition and cognitive functioning is somewhat limited. It does point to the benefits of balanced nutrition. So two good examples of this are what's called the DASH diet, which stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension, and the Mediterranean diet. And those diets really incorporate a lot of balanced eating. The DASH diet lowers blood pressure and improves levels of blood lipids or fats in the bloodstream. This can help reduce the risk of developing cardiovascular disease. Because the DASH diet is a healthy way of eating, it may also lower the risk of osteoporosis, cancer, heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. The Mediterranean diet incorporates the basics of healthy eating along with the traditional cooking style of countries bordering the Mediterranean. A research study of more than 1.5 million healthy adults demonstrated that following a Mediterranean diet could reduce the risk of death from heart disease and cancer. It may also reduce the risk of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. But these are really just a couple of examples. There are others. Excuse me. The important thing is to find balanced options in the food that you eat and the food that's important to your culture. So the diets that have been shown to be the most effective have certain things in common. So here are some common elements from both of the diets that I just mentioned that are listed on the screen: fruits and vegetables, nuts, beans, and whole grains, lean meats, fish and poultry, healthier oils, and limited fats and salts. So it's never too late to adopt a heart healthy diet. Studies show that making these changes, even in later life, can benefit our brain health. But making changes is what we regularly eat can be hard. So here's some suggestions on how to make some healthier eating changes work for you. Think about what you can do to cook differently or make meals healthier. What healthy foods could you swap in? Are there maybe some new foods that you'd like to try? Some new vegetables and things like that that you've always looked at in the grocery store and wondered, I wonder what that's like. So go ahead and give it a try and see if it's something that you enjoy. So here are some tips for healthy eating. Use olive oil instead of butter in preparing food. Use sodium-free spices or flavorings instead of salt. Don't add extra salt when cooking rice, pasta, or hot cereals. Read food labels and choose low sodium or no salt added options. Focus on what you can add instead of what you're taking away, such as adding in fruit as a snack or vegetables to your pasta. Choose plain, fresh, frozen, or canned vegetables. Unfortunately, the sauces that are sometimes added to them are not necessarily healthy. So build meals around vegetables, beans, and whole grains. Choose fresh or frozen skinless poultry, fish, and lean cuts of meat. Try to eat fish a couple of days a week, and serve fresh fruit for dessert instead of something that's more sugar concentrated. And a quick note about vitamins and supplements. So there are many vitamins and supplements available on the market today. However, it's important to proceed with caution. So the World Health Organization says that vitamin supplements are not recommended to reduce the risk of cognitive decline and dementia. They stress more balanced nutrition, like we discussed, saying that that would have the biggest advantage for promoting the health of your brain and your body, not the supplements. So labels for supplements cannot make drug claims or state that they alleviate symptoms of diseases because they are not drugs as defined by the FDA. So many are created with little or no regulation and may be potentially dangerous. So beware of false claims and know what vitamins and dietary supplements may interact with any medications that you might be on. The best way to understand and address how to care for yourself is to talk with a healthcare professional. So if you do have a nutritional deficiency, they can identify this and counsel you on the right steps to take. Supplements should only be used under the supervision of a medical professional. So let's see how much you know about other areas of health. Here's some more quizzes for us. Challenging your brain may help lower your risk of cognitive decline. So I would think that most of us would think that that is true. So it is true, continuing to challenge our minds as we age may lower the risk of cognitive decline. And the next one, we're going to talk about challenging your mind, having short and long-term benefits for your brain. So cognitive or mental engagement is a term that means keeping our minds active. Anything that uses your mind in challenging ways is a cognitive activity and can possibly have benefits for your brain. So this can be something like learning a new skill, working on a challenging task, or engaging in ongoing learning. And what the science tells us is that scientists believe that as you use your mind in new and challenging ways, your brain builds new connections between the brain cells. The more connections you have, the more nimble your brain is, and the better you may be able to guard against the effects of injuries or diseases that can compromise our brain function. Cognitive engagement encourages brain flow to the brain, and mentally stimulating activities may possibly maintain or even improve our cognition. Formal education is also important. Research has shown that engaging in classroom-based learning, led by professionally trained teachers, will help keep our brain healthy and can protect you from developing dementia. Some researchers believe that this may be due to education creating a more robust network of communication pathways between the neurons in our brain. So, how can we challenge ourselves? Maybe ask yourself what new hobbies or skills you might want to learn. Are there any activities you can think of that sound like a fun challenge? What topics would you like to learn more about? And focus on topics of interest that are a challenge for you. What is challenging for one person may not be challenging for another. And sometimes we suggest that even looking at your local community college or community center where they offer classes as an option, and then trying maybe a new cooking technique. Taking cooking classes is fun. Learning a new language. Maybe building a piece of furniture or creating something artistic. Learn to paint or to play a musical instrument, or learn a strategy game like chess. So staying connected is very important. Social engagement or connecting with others in a social setting can have many health benefits. And what the science tells us is there's some research that shows that connecting with others may support brain health. Those who are regularly engaged with other people also tend to have reduced rates of mortality and disability. We know that people don't do well in isolation, as we all learned during COVID, especially. And when people feel well connected to others, they tend to make healthier choices in other parts of their lives. There are many ways to connect with others and reap the benefits of social interaction. As always, doing activities that are meaningful to you is a great way. These will provide the greatest connections with those around you. Think about how you'd like to connect with others and where there might be some new opportunities to do so, such as involving yourself in your community, joining a club, or maybe a group. And there are a number of ways that you can maintain strong social connections, including volunteering for a cause that's really important to you, scheduling regular phone calls or video chats with people that might live a little farther away, visiting family and friends that live close, and becoming more involved in your community. So let's recap what we've learned in today's program. In general, a key principle is that what is good for the heart is good for the brain. And these important elements of healthy living for your brain and body include getting quality sleep, being smoke-free, taking care of your mental health, being physically active and eating healthy, and challenging yourself and staying socially connected. So all of these things have potential benefits. In fact, there is ongoing research into how engaging in multiple activities across these areas may have even the greatest benefit for brain health. So whenever possible, think about how you can make some changes that affect more than one area at the same time to maximize the health benefits of your habits. For example, taking a walk with a friend combines physical activity with social engagement. So as many of us can think about these different things, maybe just making small changes that can have a significant impact will help us live as well as possible. So again, it's never too early or too late to start building more healthy habits into our lives. And so now we're going to talk just a little bit about how the Alzheimer's Association can help provide some resources. So the Alzheimer's Association leads the way to end Alzheimer's and other dementias by accelerating global research, driving risk reduction and early detection, and maximizing quality care and support. So our vision is a world without Alzheimer's and other dementia. And the Alzheimer's Association provides many resources for information and support, including our 24-hour, 7-day-a-week helpline at 800-272-3900. This is available anytime, day or night, and provides access to highly trained and knowledgeable staff who can help with education, decision-making support, crisis assistance, and resource identification. We also have online resources on our website at alz.org. This includes education programs such as what we've worked with today, really covering a wide range of topics. And the Alzheimer's Association and AARP have teamed up to provide what we call our Community Resource Finder. And this includes a wealth of resources available in your area, including community-based services. You'll basically enter your zip code and find all the resources in your area.